Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the TITA Autumn Grand Finals between Team NextGaming and Team Q1shi. We are going to have game number one going to the pocket of Team NextGaming. My name's Yaman Dota. Join with me is going to be my ever-faithful co-caster, Xander. Xander, welcome back, my friend.
Hello! Glad to be here.
Glad to have you, especially with a warm welcome like that. You always make me feel warm and fuzzy inside. Either way, we are going to be already underway with the draft right now. Team NextGaming keeping to their principles by banning out that Doom with their first pick. Q1shi also going to be doing the same thing by taking the Alchemist out of the pool. And I believe the other... Who was the other ban in the first go-around for Team Q1shi? It was Alchemist?
Shadow Fiend.
Shadow Fiend. Alright. So, just see if they did... The Wind Ranger did really well up against them last time. They do have to ban out the Shadow Fiend again. So no Wind Ranger, or Wind Ranger's still in the pool for Team NextGaming if they do want to try to go for that. They decided to ban it themselves, so this does open the opportunity for Q1shi to pick up the Queen of Pain if they want to try to go for that as their first big pickup and secure themselves a decent mid laner. And I doubt they're going to be going for that Zeus again, as he was pretty influential in the last in those team fight engagements that helped them swing a lot of those fights, but. The Wind Ranger, definitely one of those heroes, is going to be able to secure a lot of farm up against him. Or, excuse me, the Queen of Pain, definitely a hero that can secure a lot of farm up against him.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if Q1shi pick a similar lineup to what they had last time. Yeah, Lich already. Because the lineup that they had worked out really well. NXG just did a little bit better. And the immediate Necro Wisp pick.
I love this.
So they've got something planned.
Yeah, this is big. The Necrophos and Lich, if you guys were watching ESL1 New York, Team Secret ran this, and it was absolutely pulverizing. They were just diving behind Tier 1 towers at about 3 minutes into the game, and there was just no amount of rotations that could stop them from doing this. Now, it all depends on exactly how experienced Team NextGaming's IO player is. But if they couple that with something like either a Bane or a Dazzle, then it's going to be nigh impossible to stop whatever trialing comes out with the IO and the Necrophos.
And we'll see what they decide to do, and if Q1shi is aware of that game with Secret, and maybe Q1shi has the unknown strategy of how to beat this, so we'll see what they decide to go for here.
Yeah, I feel like there's just too many support heroes that they could grab to couple up with that IO. That brings some kind of healing element to the lineup. Whether it's the Dazzle, you could go for a Witch Doctor again. You could go for the Banes we talk about. Omni Knight is another big one. Granted, if you go for the Omni Knight, that's a lot of lack of lockdown, which will open up a lot of different heroes for the side of Team Q1shi, whether it is a Queen of Pain or if they want to go for something like a Storm Spirit, who you don't see that often, but does really well up against teams that don't have any kind of lockdown for him. And they do end up picking up the Lina over on the side of Team Q1shi. That was played... NextGaming had Lina last game, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they decided to see if they can get their hand in over on the Lina shuffle, and we'll see if they decide to play it a little differently than Team NextGaming by throwing her over in that mid lane role. But they are going to ban out the Undying, and immediately countered by the ban of the Anti-Mage coming out from the side of Team NextGaming. So it does seem like they are... Oh, go ahead.
We will see no Mana Voids today. And that's going to make things a little bit trickier for Q1shi as they decide who to pick for their carry, especially who they need to watch out who they pick for their carry, because at any moment their carry could just be relocated on and deleted from the game for up to like 2 minutes. So
interesting choice. Interesting choice from Q1shi to ban out the CK, though. You're talking about, you know, what carry hero you want to have relocate with. Chaos Knight, definitely the most traditional one in the sense of like old school Wisp players, but Tiny has really been the focal point for most Wisp, like the carry hero that gets coupled up with that Wisp. So I wouldn't be incredibly shocked if we end up seeing him come out from them as their next pickup so that he can't get banned out in the last banning phase. But a lot of options for them to pick to couple up with that Wisp and the Necrophos.
I would love to see the Tony pick up. I love watching Tony play. The only issue I could see with Tony is that, oh, you were so right! The Dazzle, and they do pick up the Spectre, so Q1shi, yeah, as I said, picking a very similar lineup. They realized that their lineup before was incredibly strong. NXG was just a little bit stronger. They had a bit better of an early game here. But the real question right now is, will this Lina be going mid, or will she be going into the support role with that Spectre and Lich?
I would hope they'll do everything that they can to try to help out that Spectre. They could... I would not be surprised whatsoever if Team NextGaming decide to go for an offensive tri-lane. And they pick up the Slardar, so that's another good hero that the IO can have to tether to and relocate with. And not only that, but Slardar incredibly capable of closing a large distance in a very short amount of time. When you couple that with Sprint, as well as a Blink Dagger, a lot of Slardars have been going 4-staff on top of that too. So he could be there in a moment's notice whenever they decide to go for a relocate gank. So he doesn't even need to be the target for the Wisp to relocate with. And so that most likely will end up being their safe lane farmer. Darkseer still in the pool. If Q1shi end up picking him up, it could be an incredibly strong asset to zoning out that Slardar in the early laning phase, since it most likely will end up being a 1v1 Slardar versus an offlaner. They still could pick up Tuscan if they want to decide to go for him. He did have a pretty substantial impact in the last match, but as we saw before, just that Rubik pick as their last pick really didn't pay too many dividends for the side of Team Q1shi. So it just all depends on whether or not they're going to be throwing this Lina over in the mid lane.
Yeah, I think the Darkseer pickup would be incredibly good against the Slardar. First of all, let me just say I'm happy to see Slardar in competitive play. I want him to get a model update very badly. But I would love to see the Darkseer really. If Q1shi could play Darkseer as well as I think it was Pippo did on Team NXG, then I think Q1shi could take this game no problem. If they could win the offlane with Darkseer and secure farm for Spectre, I think they win. Not easily. They don't crush because they have the Necro, and they picked up AA. I don't quite. I guess they have a lot of healing with the Necro and the Dazzle, but
Yeah,
does Shallow Grave stop them from shattering?
Yes, it does. So I actually really like the AA pickup just because of the amount of healing that's coming out. It's not going to be a factor during the laning phase, though, so I see where your issues with it come in from. I would have maybe liked to have seen like a Disruptor instead, just so that when they do try to dive with the Necrophos and the Wisp tethered up to each other, then he can still get the glimpse off, and that kind of leaves either the IO or the Necrophos in the middle of no man's land. So I would have liked to maybe see a Disruptor there, and then they could have thrown the Lina over into the mid lane and put the Darkseer over into the off lane, but they end up banning out the Darkseer with their last ban. So this is leading me to believe that they might be going for another 2-1-2 lineup coming out from Team Q1shi, and I don't like that at all with the potential of an aggressive tri-lane coming out from Team NXG.
We might see the Ancient Apparition and the Lich lane with the Spectre, but that's not a great lane combo at all. Like, there's really not much they can do. They've got no synergy with Cold Feet. They can't keep them in place for that to happen. They've got Ice Vortex and some Chilling Touch for the ranged heroes, but it's really not going to do much. And they're incredibly squishy early on, so Necro and Slardar are just going to have a field day with them.
Yeah, a lot of these heroes are super squishy on the side of Team Q1shi. As you were just saying, the Slardar, once he gets his level 6 and he gets amplified damage up, that's going to be huge for them. Now you're coupled. This is a massive minus armor strat coming out from them. They're going to have the Meld Strikes and eventually a Desolator on the TA. They're going to have Weave from the Dazzle as well as the amplified damage coming out from the Slardar. And that's going to make it very easy for them to burst down a single target on the side of Q1shi. Now, Team Q1shi does have a lot better teamfight potential, in my opinion. They're going to be focusing mostly on just bursting down one hero right at the beginning of the fight for Team NXG, and then after that, they might be able to disperse and try to go for the other pickoffs, but Team Q1shi is a little bit more well-balanced as far as the team fight lineup is concerned.
Yeah, they really got to think about who they want to have for their offlane role that is going to be going up against that. Probably solo Slardar, do you think?
Yeah, most likely, I would have to guess. And they pick a Centaur. Here's a freaking blast from the past that we never see anymore. He does really well in solo offlane spots. Yeah, he struggles a little bit whenever you throw a dual lane or a tri lane at him now. Before, where he was able to pretty easily just solo a tri lane and get farm and EXP out of it. But when you go solo up against a Slardar, he's definitely going to have more kill potential over on the Slardar than vice versa. So I would like to see that come out from them. It's just a matter of whether or not they want to meet the aggression of that offensive tri-lane that's going to probably come out from Team NXG. Either way, we're going to be loading the game. No disconnects this time, so we'll go ahead and break down the lineups. For the side of Team Q1shi on the Radiant, we are going to have SA Beauty again playing in that offlane Centaur War Runner. You're going to have Future Z over on the Lina. Not R is going to be playing that support Lich. Peekaboo on your support Ancient Apparition, with Magic is going to be filling out the rest of that lineup over on the Spectre.
And NXG now on the Dire side. We will have Pippo moving from his Darkseer onto the Necro Hawkeyes, playing the Dazzle. Porum on the Slardar, Dareday on the Wisp, and Yui Gahama on the mid Templar Assassin. And it looks like NXG are grouping up to try and go for this bottom lane. Meanwhile, Q1shi is going to group up and go for this top lane, so probably not going to see any action here unless something crazy happens.
Yeah, this is going to give an opportunity for NXG to get some either aggressive wards down or start blocking some of the camps up. They wrap around looking for someone to pick off, and as you said, both teams are going to be pretty focused on just securing one of the runes. That does provide enough opportunity for the Dazzle to just get down that sentry ward inside the easy camp, that pool camp that they're going to be looking for, and so they are definitely setting up for this aggressive tri-lane right now, though.
You know, I really like that TA set. Everybody on Reddit hates it, but I kind of like it.
Yeah, it looks exactly. I don't know if you ever watched Wagamama stream before, but he had like that custom yellow and black TA, and I feel like this is as close as Valve is ever going to let us get to just straight up getting that. They actually decided to give the first bounty rune to the Templar Assassin instead of giving it to the Wisp, who could have picked up his bottle immediately from that. I was a little bit surprised by that, and it's starting to look like it is going to be a 2-1-2 coming out from the side of Team NXG. And I think that it does take away a little bit of their potential in this this off lane of theirs, but it still is going to be pretty formidable going up against the Necrophos as well as the Wisp, just not nearly as much kill potential as they used to have.
And, you know, TA getting her bottle a little bit faster, you know, that helps a lot. Really good refraction right before it hits. This is going to be a nightmare lane for Lina. I don't think Lina can do anything against TA. She can't burn the refraction charges fast enough. All of her damage is going to be snuffed, and it's going to be really hard for her to get anything in this lane once TA starts going completely ham mode.
Yeah, I think you need to grab a level of Fiery Soul at 4 if you're going to be going up against a TA like that, just so you do have another method of bursting down those refraction charges. Otherwise, it's going to be, as you said, she's just going to eat the Light Strike Array and the Dragon Slave with those refraction charges, and it's not going to do any damage for the amount of mana that she's going to be outputting to try to get those kills.
And up in the off lane, Centaur did use a stomp, just do a little bit of damage onto the Slardar, but Slardar just gonna walk it off. He's a tough fish. He doesn't care.
He's got a big anchor in his hands. I don't think he's worried about too many things other than the Titanic.
Oh my god. Too soon. Anyways, down at the bottom, we have the Spectre, who looks to be farming a lot better than she was farming last time. Does take Dagger first. And you know what, I might actually be completely wrong. She only has one last hit compared to this Necro's 5. What's happening? Is she just afraid of Heartstopper? I guess she's getting harassed by Necro. Necro does have really long range and starts with a very decent 52 base damage, so he can do a lot of harass from a distance.
Yeah, I think this is just coming down to a questionable, like, lane decisions coming out from the side of Team Q1shi at the moment. They could be the Centaur might not get a ton of farm up in the top lane if he's going solo up against the Slardar as well as the Dazzle, but he's going to definitely be able to stay within EXP range. You throw the Lich down there, Spectre's going to farm a lot more efficiently, and it's also going to shut out the Necrophos and force that Dazzle to come into the offensive tri-lane, or at least rotate out that Necrophos, and which would just leave a solo Wisp down here. And it would just waste a lot of utility and gold from the other team making the rotations out, but they are going to keep it in the 2-1-2 style of play that we saw in the last game, and we'll see exactly how much this frees up space for this TA to try to get herself an early Blink Dagger or Desolator. And they're going to go down on the Wisp right now. They're trying to get the kill over onto him. Spectral Dagger is going to wear off. There is going to be the Necrophos Death Pulse out, but it's going to not be able to heal up the Wisp right now. Gets one last heal over him, but it doesn't matter as the essence from that Ancient Apparition is going to be enough for those right clicks. And they finally get the rotation coming down here from the Lich, and they get the killing potential over onto that Wisp. And Ancient Apparition almost goes down after the fact, but Spectre did end up dying in the process as well.
Yeah, at least Spectre got you know, the experience and the gold for that IO kill right before she died, so going to be a little bit further ahead, but then Necro, now level 4, has his boots. We'll see what kind of boots he decides to go for. There's been a lot of phase boots Necro in pubs right now, so maybe we'll see that.
Yeah, with the Wisp out there, I kind of like the treads a little bit more, just because it gives him a little bit more utility with that heal coming out from him, but it allows him to spam out the Death Pulse a little bit more frequently. There is going to be a slam over up on the top lane over onto the Centaur, but he's super tanky, working with about an 815 base HP, and he's going to be able to grab his Tranquil Boots from the side shop. It's just a matter of whether or not he gets out after the fact, and Crush still not going to be enough in order to get him down, so they will let him just grab those Tranquil Boots, and he's going to be able to sustain throughout this laning phase for the rest of it, most likely, unless they rotate more heroes up here.
And now Wisp has his bottle, so say goodbye to ever killing Necrolite up here. Wisp also has invisibility bottled for if he decides to go on a rotation anywhere. Spectre just not getting the farm that she needs. Only 11 last hits, same amount of last hits as the Centaur right now, which is really bad. Necro sitting at 18. TA in the mid lane, 26 last hits compared to Lena's 15. I knew that Lena was going to have a hard time, but this is really devastating for her right now as TA is managing to get a lot of things very quickly and does get the Band of Elven Skin working towards those power treads.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen, if they would have started off with the defensive tri-lane, then they could have potentially got some rotations over onto the Templar Assassin at some point in time, because that Wind Ranger last game really was one of the turning points for them. Other than the fact that the Darkseer had such a good time in the laning phase in the last match, the Wind Ranger was the one pouring out all the physical DPS compared to the Wraith King, and was atop of the CS chart and the net worth chart for almost the entirety of the match. And they're going to basically give her free farm right now in this middle lane, which is definitely not going to work out for the side of Team Q1shi if they let this go on for too long with how squishy most of the members of their squad are outside of that Centaur War Runner.
Yeah, you're right. If NXG keeps farming, they're going to have items, and suddenly it's going to be like Team Q1shi has no HP on their supports because they're just going to fall so fast. Thankfully, Necro's ultimate goes on missing HP, so really not too much to worry about for the supports, as that's going to do damage no matter how much HP you have.
Yeah, and this Spectre can't even get within the lane right now. It's getting zoned out whether she's inside the jungle or if she's in the lane by this Wisp as well as the Necrophos. And this Lich needs to probably get some more levels over into Ice Armor just so he can sustain throughout the right-click harass that's coming out from these two people. But the Lina was forced to walk back to the well right now, and she's going to be able to TP out after the fact, but this is going to free up even more space for that TA in the middle lane, who's going to find herself a double damage rune up on the top rune spot. There is going to be a TP from the Lina up to this top lane, and I'm not sure if they're going to try to go for a kill here. There is no vision coming out from the side of Team NextGaming to spot out this rotation from the Lina, but the creep wave is being pulled back. Dazzle might find himself in trouble right now, but the Centaur War Runner is just going for the body block on the back end of this. They're trying to get some pincer movements over onto the Wisp and the Necrophos right now, but it's AA who finds himself in trouble. We'll be able to throw out that Essence ship, but it's not going to be enough, as it looks like they might get the kill over onto the Wisp right now. They do get that. Death Pulse is going to clean up the AA after the fact, and he's trying to go man mode up against the Spectre right now. Reaper Sight's going to come out. That's going to be a double kill for the Necrophos, and 47 seconds on the sidelines for that Spectre. They end up getting the kill over on the Slardar in the top lane, though, while all of that is going down, so it does end up being a 2-for-2 trade. But Necrophos actually gets the kill longer range style over onto that Lich in the bottom lane again, so scrap that. 3-for-2 trade in favor of Team NXG.
That's really bad. The last thing you want is Necro getting all these kills early on. He's going to get super tanky, and he's just going to be pumping out healing and damage, and you're not going to be able to kill him, especially with that Wisp behind him. Really smart of them to go for the Wisp in the back instead of going for the Necro, and they did manage to get him, but unfortunately, right when... Did somebody die? Bot lane? Am I going crazy? Was there only AA, and Spectre down here, or was there another person?
No, Lich died down there as well after the fact.
Oh, right, Lich. Okay, whenever Lich died, that gave Necro just enough experience to get his level 6 and throw out the Reaper Scythe onto the Spectre, which is really unfortunate. Now it looks like they want to go on the Wisp again. No Reaper Scythe to stop him this time. Spectre throwing out the spirits to do a little bit of damage. It looks like she may go down, and she will go down to the AA again. Necrophos just running around. Doesn't have a lot of mana, though, so... we may be able to see Spectre clean this up. Does have the dagger in 1 second. She will throw it. Dazzle is here, however, and it looks like there will be the turnaround. They will not be able to get the kill on Spectre, but the Death Pulse is coming for the Lich. Lich! Lina's down here, however, and the Laguna Blade will clear out the Necro, and Lich will... die! Oh, so close, and he will die to the Death Pulse. Meanwhile, in the back, TA trying to go for the AA. He needs to run. However, Light Strike away will burn her down. Creeps are taking down refraction charges. Will she get cold feeded? She will not. She will get just out of range. And Lina trying to go for it, running around. Does not get the Light Strike. Really unfortunate right now, as TA is going to go right back into this with the heal and the bottle charges. Refraction is back up, so Lina's about to take a ton of damage. Lots of minus armor coming out. Will be able to catch her, yes, but one more hit is needed to take her out. Tried to use the Sideblaze to finish her off, but it doesn't happen. Chain Frost used to try and finish her off, but it doesn't. Shallow Grave finally used onto the TA. Inspector is back, trying trying to get the kill, but the Shallow Grave is keeping her alive, and now Spectre going really close on the Spirits from Io will clear her out, and now the chase is back on Io, as the Lich right-click will get the finishing hit. Necro is here. Will he be able to get the Lich? He's trying. He's coming close. Can he get the Reaper Sight? He does. Will it get the kill? No, it won't, but he does throw out the Death Pulse, and that is a dead Lich. Killed the creep right before he died.
Yeah, that engagement was just out of control, and that is all going to come down to the fact that they have the Dazzle and the Wisp combo. TA looked like she was in a lot of trouble due to the movement speed coming out from that Lina with the fiery soul stacks built up over onto her. She did decide to pick up a value point over into that, and she's actually going to find out the Necrophos inside the jungle right now. She does have Laguna Blade. We'll throw it out.
Oh my God.
Raid not going to be on the mark, but it doesn't matter. Spectre throws out that Spectral Dagger and manages to secure the kill over into the Necrophos, and maybe overestimating a little bit too much about its sustainability without having that Lich there, or excuse me, the Io there. But that's going to be the Tier 1 tower in the bottom lane being denied, and that's going to be two Tier 1 towers being taken out already. We didn't talk about it before, but the TA managed to clean up that Tier 1 tower in the middle lane previously. And that was with that double damage she picked up. They're going to try to go on the Centaur right now. He will end up throwing out the Stampede, but he's locked in place by the Slitherine Crush. Amplified damage doing a lot of physical DPS over there. They just need one more right click. Ice Armor is going to be there from the Lich, and he's going to be able to survive throughout all of that. And it looks like over on the back end of that, the Wisp and the Io both are going to end up going down. TA is going to be there to soak up the EXP, but not managing to get either of the kills for her own sake. But she's at the 1,400 gold after completing the Wand Treads and Bottle, and she's getting awfully close to having either that first Mithril Hammer or nice little steal from the Spectral Dagger right there. But yeah, TA's going to have that Blink or the first Mithril Hammer coming out pretty shortly as she goes to defend that Tier 1 tower in the middle lane.
Yeah, we'll see what she decides to go for first. I don't. The mobility would be really great as she'd be able to get into position, but the damage, maybe even being able to one-shot or two-shot these squishy supports. I'm Sean Connery. Ancient Apparition only at a little bit over 600 HP, and Lina caught back here, no T1 tower to hide behind. Threw down the Life Strike away, but Refraction just going to block it. Slardar is coming in as a speedy fish, and AA ultimate is thrown out, but it hits no one, and now Lina needs to run for a life. The blink on Slardar. Slardar has a blink, immediately killed, crushed, amp damage, minus armor. Lina, you are out of here. Goodbye.
Big pickup coming for them with the lack of that Tier 1 tower being able to TP for the rest of the side of Team Q1shi, and we're going to see a little cheeky pickup for the Necrophos. He grabs himself a Dagon, and an interesting choice on him. Wants to be able to burst down these supports even further than they already have, and that is definitely their solo pickoff potential is just absolutely phenomenal over on the side of NextGaming. If they can take away enough of this map control to keep the Spectre out from farming for long enough, then that's going to be a huge asset for them. As she's only sitting at 29 and 2 CS at the moment, and this H Apparition is going to get caught out. Throws out the Ice Blast, not going to be able to connect on either of them though. It actually gets with the tail end over the Slardar, but he's chopped up and cleaned out as he ends up going down right now. Haunt's going to come out from the Spectres. They move over on the Necrophos. Doesn't matter if you have a Dagon if you're dead right now. And they move over on the Centaur, though, too, on the back end of that. They will end up being a 2-for-1 trade so far, but the Spectre's not done. Going after the Wisp. We'll be able to connect with the Spectral Dagger. Just a couple more right-clicks. Big tether over onto the Slardar, who ends up blinking out. Now he's going to go for the TA at the moment. There's going to be a Psionic Trap over onto the Lich. He's slowed down, but here comes the AA back for more again. Already back up off cooldown on his death timer. There's going to be an Ice Blast available in about 1 second, so it looks like the rest of the squad on the side of Team NXG is going to back off, but a little bit of a hectic team fight happening down there by that bottom Tier 2 tower, which they did manage to get a little bit of chip damage over onto, but nothing too significant.
You know, 2-for-1, it's not too bad. The worst thing about that 2-for-1 trade is that both of the kills did go the way of that Templar Assassin, so she's got a ton of money right now. She could buy whatever she wants. She could get the Blink, she could get Mithril Hammer, and almost have another Mithril Hammer for the Deso, and she's just saving it up. Maybe she'll go for something amazing, like a Radiance or something. I'd love to see that.
Maybe we'll get level or first item Rapier build coming out from the TA. That much
Please.
confidence.
In the Wisp, in the Dazzle.
And that entire teamfight engagement happened without the Dazzle. He was up in the top lane, split pushing the entire time. Didn't really do too much damage to that Tier 1 tower in the Radiant offlane, but the entirety of that fight happened without him, and he's starting to look to try to join up with them now, moving down towards that bottom rune spot, but The rest of Team NXG is set up to try to go for another teamfight engagement. There was a Slitherine crush, but I believe it got canceled by the Spectral Dagger coming through intended for that Templar Assassin. They move forward with the Lich right now, but it doesn't look like any kind of engagement is going to happen out from the side of Team Q1shi. Psionic Trap is going to get put down and used by the TA over on the Spectre as well as that Lich. And they're just doing a little bit of chip damage right now to that Tier 2 tower. Lich opting not to put the Ice Armor over onto the tower at the moment. And now that they're getting the right click set up, blink forward, Slithering Crush over onto 3. Ice Blast is going to be able to connect over onto him, as well as a big Chain Frost bouncing back and forth. TA's already going to go down. Slardar's next. There's going to be the Reaper Scythe over onto the Centaur Warrunner, but he's not going to be able to get anything out of that. And now there's going to be 3 down as they lose the Wisp, as well as the Dazzle. There's going to be try to be a TP out from the Necrophos, but that's a 5-man wipe. MVP Lich right now. Man, was that a good Chain Frost.
That wasn't good. That hit, I think that hit every single team member, and a couple of team members at least twice. That was an amazing Chain Frost. There was incredibly fast engagement too. As soon as Dazzle threw the weave, Slardar was in. He was on it. But as soon as Slardar blinked in, Centaur blinked in right to the back and got a double hoof stomp onto the TA and onto the Necro. So they weren't able to do anything super quickly, and they weren't able to react to the Slardar as fast as they wanted to. And that really allowed the Lich to just get in there, press R, and wait.
Yeah, the press R is pretty much the strategy to go to right now for the Lich, and it's paying off dividends with that last fight. That's going to be enough for the mechanism too. Seems like she's getting gold based off of how much damage she's doing in these team fights and not so much the kills, but she's actually at 7-3-4 at the moment. This Lich is just balling out of control right now. If we check the net worth graph and the chart, Lich is sitting kind of towards the bottom, but despite that, Team Q1shi was working with about a 3,000 gold deficit, now almost about a 2,000 surplus at the moment. So they're going to get about a 5,000 net worth swing in the past 3 or 4 minutes of this match.
Yeah, incredibly well played there by Q1shi. Again, showing the strength of their early team fights. You know, NXG do have the Wisp and they do have the Dazzle, but Necro, only level 1 Reaper Scythe, it's not that good. It didn't kill the Centaur, and he was at under half HP. So Necro, really, he's just going to run around Death Pulse and Dagon and then not really do much. And so you really have to rely on the Slardar and the TA, who were, as I said, stunned at the beginning of that fight. So really they had nothing at all at the beginnings of that engagement. And I think that, combined with the Chain Frost, is what really allowed Q1shi to take that fight so fully.
Yeah, I would have really liked to have seen something like a Rod of Atos coming out from the Necrophos. Would have just absolutely kept the crippled the side of Team Q1shi, especially when you get that Stampede. Speaking of Centaur Warrunners, there's going to be a blink and a hoof stomp up onto the Dazzle. He's going to get bursted down, but here comes the relocate from the IO, as well as the Necrophos. Han's going to beat it from the Spectre to go Gouda Blade right to the dome of that IO, and he's going to end up going down. Chain Frost continuing to do as much work as it did last time as they're looking for a kill over in the Slardar. Reaper Scythe on the back end of that over onto the Lina, but she's going to be able to get the Yule Scepter off after the fact, and that's going to be 4 heroes down on the side of Team NXG. TA on the run. Can they make it 5? She does have the Blink Dagger. Will blink and TP. Hoof Stomp, though. It's there. It connects. Ice Blast from the Ancient Apparition for good measure, and the creeps are going to help them secure that kill as it gets split amongst everyone, but that's a 5-man wipe in favor of Team Q1shi right now.
That was just a disco ball from AA. That was a celebration. And Q1shi showing their strength right here. Their team fighting abilities. TA tried to go. I don't think that was a great idea, her trying to go in. Maybe she was trying to get at least one pick off and then get out, but all 5 of them were there. They had mana. They were ready, and now they're taking their first T1 tower and looking to push in maybe for a tier 2. And Spectre, 21,000 gold. 21,000. 2,100 gold in the bank right now.
Yeah, she's looking pretty good at the moment compared to where we found her last game at this point in time, and it does look like she is going to be going for most likely that Radiance build, as she has enough room and gold to complete the Drums of Endurance if she wanted to go for that, as she did in the last match, and she actually will decide to go for that. I say that, and she picks up not only the Blade of Alacrity, but the Drums as well, so it is going to be the Drums and the Diffusal build again. I'm not crazy about it this match. I would have maybe liked to have seen a Radiance. She does have to worry about that massive amount of burst damage coming out from the side of Team NXG, but it's almost like if she gets focused and targeted out, she's going to go down no matter whether she has the drums or not. There's just too much minus armor. They had the Reaper Scythe as well as the Dagon on the Necrophos, so I think you need to focus on trying to maybe survive off the missed opportunities coming out from the Radiance Burn, as well as really just the Wisp only working with about 800 base HP, and when he gets haunted on by a Radiance Spectre, he's going to get bursted down incredibly quickly, so I would maybe have liked to see the Radiance this match, but either way, she's going to have a lot of sustainability, working with about almost 1,400 HP with Strength Treads on right now.
Yeah, and we saw really what little damage the Necroscythe did as he tried to use it on Lina to get the kill, but Lina just didn't fall. And that's really the weakness of Necrolite, is that early on his Reaper Scythe is right shit. Like, actually not great. But he has just hit level 11. Scythe is going to do 0.9 damage per missing HP. It's going to help, or 0.6 damage per missing HP, and it's going to help so much more. He probably would have gotten a couple more kills if he was level 11 earlier. And it looks like they want to try and go in on this. They do have the AA in the middle lane, but he can throw his ultimate. Psionic Trap thrown out. Blink in and a stomp, but immediately blinked out by the TA. Looks like they are going to try and chase though. They do manage to take out the Necro down at the bottom. Necro just in a really bad place, and the rest of NXG is just going to try and disengage.
Yeah, that was big pickup for them. Necrophos a little bit split off from the rest of his teammates, and the Centaur did a good job of chasing after the rest of their squad and forced them back. And if you're running away from just the solo Centaur running at you as a 4-man squad, then you know that you're in a pretty perilous situation. So they're looking to take down this Tier 1 tower down in the Dire offlane. Not much of a response being mounted by the side of Team NXG. Wisp is going to be there giving away his position right now. If they want to try to just blink right on top of him, they can. Weave is going to come out from the Dazzle. We'll be able to connect over onto 3 of them. And this Tier 1 tower is slated to fall pretty shortly, only sitting at about 74 of its base HP at the moment. And no deny coming out from the Wisp.
Yeah, it looks like they wanted to try, but it just didn't happen. And now the rest of Q1shi are going to back off, try and farm up, maybe go for this middle T1 tower and just continue pushing the advantage that they have and not give NXG any chance to farm up or get any stronger than they already are. And I think that is the best plan right now, although Spectre might be caught out inside of this Radiant jungle. She is in the medium camp. There is a Stampede used by the center to try and get her away. Sonic Trap to try, and now she's stuck in the trees! But she is safe. And it looks like Lich might take the death for mechanism popped by the Lich. What is even happening? Centaur in the back trying to kill the Wisp, but not going to happen. He is going to get Reaper Scythe, and now Lina running away. Poor Spectre in the trees. I think that fight would have been really different if she wasn't, but the IO does go down, but they do lose the Centaur and the Lina, and that's a big swing in favor of NXG right now. That is exactly what they needed.
Yeah, they end up trading off. They get a kill over on the Centaur as well as that core Lina in exchange for just their IO's life, and they were sitting at about around a 10,000 net worth deficit. It's going to swing it back down to around 2,500, so just getting 2 kills is going to be a pretty big, significant boost in their net worth. And it is going to be the completed Yasha over on the Spectre, so she's actually not deciding to go for the Diffusal Blade this go around. She is going to be going for the Mantis style as her first big item purchase. And this TA getting close to her Desolator of her own, has another 2,600 gold in her inventory. Necrophos surviving throughout the entirety of that one. Is going to have another 1,900 in his, so he could upgrade that Dagon if he wants to, or start going into more of a utility type of build. Pick up something like an Agnum Scepter as his next item purchase. But this Tier 2 under threat right now from Team NXG.
Yeah, and it looks like they want to take this down and secure more map control back for their team, and it looks like they're backing off. Realize that Lina is back alive and that Centaur will be back shortly, and after the last couple fights, who could blame them for wanting to back off right now? You know, they're taking what they can get and then getting out. It's really smart. However, TA maybe stayed for too long, but Q1shi deciding not to go in on her.
Yeah, that's going to be... There's a lot of farm coming out from the supports on the side of Team Q1shi. There was a Midas on the Ancient Apparition. He's got himself the point booster as well as the Ogre Club. So he's almost getting close to his Agnum Scepter. Lich only needs another 1,650 gold, it looks like, before he has his Agnum Scepter completed. And that's going to be incredibly difficult for them to team fight up against once they end up getting both of those items. And I have a lot of concerns about what Team NXG is going to do, especially with the Ancient Apparition Agnum Scepter upgrade. This massive amount of burst heal that they're going to have potentially from the Necrophos and the Wisp and the Dazzle is going to be completely nullified. As they look up in the top lane, looks like the Lina is going to try to get a kill over the Necrophos. LSA going to be off the mark. And she's going to back off after that one, a little bit worried about getting the Wisp relocate over onto her. So she's going to just skate her way back to that Tier 1 tower and go back to try to farm somewhere else on the map.
Yeah, rightly so, as the TA did TP in to the Tier 2. That was really weird to say.
TA Tier 2.
TATP Tier 2. Anyways, looking at the net worths right now, it is 7,500 gold in favor of Team Q1shi. However, the last hits are in favor of Necro and TA, but the net worth is showing that Spectre is in the lead. There is no 11,000 net worth right in this game. Spectre will be leading the charts as she wishes to be. She's very close to her ultimate orb right now, does have the Yasha as you said, and is only about 300 gold, 350 gold away from getting that. Ancient Apparition throwing his ultimate up top just to delay this push a little bit. We'll see if Q1shi wants to try and defend this, but it looks like they're okay trading for it instead.
Yeah, this nothing stops a push more strongly than a 3-man Ice Blast, but Glyph Fortification is going to be expended right now. They're looking to push out this middle lane, it seems like, but the GP coming out from the Centaur, they are going to get the blink forward, but a nice blink defensively out by the Templar Assassin, going to be able to secure her own life before they can get the initiation off with that Centaur Warrunner, who does pick up a 4-staff on top of his blink dagger, so even more maneuverability and mobility coming out from that Centaur Warrunner. As the, it looks like the Ags, is that going to be completed for the AA? No, he just only has still one item over on the courier at the moment.
And we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll see the Centaur Warrunner go the Aghanim Scepter build on his as well. That is 60% damage reduction for the whole team for about almost 4 seconds, which can be pretty huge. That's basically, it's better than a Crimson Guard, absolutely. And TA blinking in to try and do something onto the Centaur, and here comes the Wisp relocate right in the middle of the people. Wisp on his own, though, didn't bring anybody with him. Slardar is in the back as well as Dazzle. So really the whole team is here except for the Necro, who was too far away from Wisp to begin with. And we'll see if Q1shi want to try and counter-engage on this, decides against it. They do see Lina TPing up top with the ward that they have, with the ward that NXG has in their jungle, and it looks like Lina might be able to get the kill on the Necrolite here, but there is a nice TP blink in from the TA as well as the Reaper Scythe. TA with her Desolator managed doing a ton of damage, and now Lina dead for 80 seconds, although she did just finish her Aghanim Scepter, and NXG putting themselves back into this game as it looks like there's going to be an engagement in this top lane.
Yeah, Han's going to come out from the Spectre. They try to go forward. It's going to be a miss host stomp, but it doesn't matter as the AA connects with the Ice Blast over onto the Necrophos. Now they're going to try to chase after this TA who's inside the Melt Strike, blinks up, but is not going to be able to get the maneuverability that she wants. Doubles back, but it doesn't matter because the Desolate damage is going to be there from the Spectre. When you're all alone, you don't want to run into a spooky Spectre like her, and he's going to end up going down after the fact.
Yeah, so, you know, really great for NXG. They did manage to pick off that Lina and keep her out of the game for 8 years, but they, you know, stayed around a little bit too long. Centaur got a good hoof stomp and lost 3 people now, the only survivors being that Dazzle and that Slardar. Slardar does have his Vanguard complete. Really interesting to see Slardar go Vanguard. Pretty good as it blocks damage, or a lot of the extra damage he would be taking whenever he was sprinting. So Vanguard, you know, not too bad, but I think I would have liked him to go for something a little bit more like an AC or something to help out his team more. Vanguard, I don't think is going to do too much this game.
Yeah, the Crimson Guard, if he ends up completing that, will be a little bit more beneficial, but as you said, usually you see more Vanguards, at least naked Vanguards, reserved for things, lineups that have some kind of extra damage coming out from creeps, something like a Nature's Prophet with his Trents, a Enigma with his Eidolons, things of that nature. So I would have to imagine that eventually he will complete that over into a Crimson Guard just to try to deal with the right clicks coming out from that Spectre. And whenever he throws out the Haunt, if the Slardar is anywhere close to his teammates, he'll pop that and it'll just be able to diffuse a little bit more of that damage that comes out from her. But either way, as you said, that is going to kind of limit the right-click potential coming out from that Slardar. He still is going to have the minus armor from the amplified damage, which is going to be hugely beneficial to him, but they need to have some kind of way that they can deal with the burst damage coming out from the Spectre as well as the Ancient Apparition and Lina combo. So BKB most likely will be his choice item after picking up that Ogre Club, I would have to imagine, but still very easily could be the makings of that Crimson Guard first.
Yeah, really, honestly, NXG are just relying mostly on this TA. They've got the Slardar, who's not going to do a lot of damage, but he is applying the Amplify damage and the minus armor, which is going to help the TA. Dazzle's going to weave and help the TA and throw Shallow Grave and help the TA. So really, Necro's going to have his ultimate, and then it's basically up to TA, which is going to be really unfortunate if she gets caught out here by this Centaur, as he does have an invisibility rune and Stomp. Immediate Shallow Grave, as well as the Refraction. We'll see if she is managed to get out, but there is a Sentry Ward popped, and now TA, as well as the Wisp, is down. Slardar trying to come in, but immediately blinks away, and now, what do? Your biggest damage dealer is down. Blink in, catches the Necro, and he's going to go down pretty fast, but the Shallow Grave is going to barely keep him alive. Trying to decide where to go, but there is nowhere to go. You're not safe anywhere. Almost got the kill onto the Centaur, but was not able to throw off the Reaper Scythe before his inevitable death.
Yeah, really unfortunate. Good timing on the invisibility rune from that Centaur War Runner. He ran into them and then immediately doubled back like he was going to run away, but allowed the Lich to just kind of sit in that middle lane and continue to CS, playing it cool like nothing was going on. But Lich is the king of cool, as he ends up just rotating in on that afterwards, and the Ice Blast from AA also helped out with the chilly factor of that gank.
Yeah, they've got Lich and Ancient Apparition. They're like super bros, aren't they? They're like us.
Yeah, they're. I don't know if they're as cool, but you know, they
You're absolutely right.
They try at least. So.
Look at that AA helmet, so dorky. Anyways, NXG not letting those kills phase them too much. TA about 1,400 gold in the bank. AA just throwing out these disco balls left and right, like it doesn't even matter. He does have his Aghanim Scepter, so now these disco balls are going to be a huge nuisance, as they're going to stop any healing at all, and just you're going to have to heal that annoying crackling sound for 17 seconds every single time.
Yeah, what's annoying to NXG is music to the ears of Team Q1shi, as they're working with about a 15,000 net worth lead right now. EXP even further in their favor, sitting around 20,000. And that's what we talked about during the draft, is that this Team NXG lineup is really geared towards single target pickoffs. And as I say that, Team Q1shi is on the hunt right now with an invisibility rune over on that Lina. Might be able to get the kill over onto one of these carries. Ancient Apparition threw his Ice Blast out over to the bottom lane though, so I'm not sure if they're going to follow up with that, as TA blinks herself down into the Roshan pit. Right outside, the Centaur War Runner is going to be sitting there. Do they have enough damage to try to go for this? This is going to be a big moment for the side of Team Q1shi. If they can find out this Rosh attempt, then it most likely will shut down everything outside of NXG. They clean up the Dazzle, but they're still going for this Rosh at the moment. Try to get everything in the frame as they go get the Haunt off. They know now. They didn't know before. The Ecrolite as well as the Dazzle is going to be cleaned up and taken out as they move back onto the end of this one and get the kill over onto the Wisp as well. Looks like Slardar is going to be the next one on the hit list for the side of Team Q1shi as he walks right into the edge of that Ice Blast, but it doesn't matter as Lina has already cleaned him up. And it's only going to be the Templar Assassin. This Roche got down to about a quarter of its HP before they found out with that Spectre Haunt, and you had to realize that it was going to be a little bit wearisome trying to go for that with the Spectre Haunt up and ready from the side of Team Q1shi. Either way, 4-for-0 trade in favor of Q1shi.
And remember, this is how it looked last time for Q1shi as well. They won a lot of team fights, but, you know, a couple good pickups for NXG could put them back in this game, especially if they managed to get the Spectre or the Lina. Especially. Did I just say especially twice? Alright. Going for this tier 3 tower right now. Looks like they want to try and rax them before that Slardar comes back alive, and, you know, who's to say they can't? I don't think that NXG at this point is strong enough to take them as a team, and Q1shi knows that. Blinking from the Centaur, but no Stomp. Spectre sending out her illusions just to do a little bit of damage, and looks like we'll see if they decide to get these barracks and go for more, if they're going to decide to go back.
Yeah, a little bit surprising that they send the TA over in the middle lane. She does clean up the tier 2 tower, but at the same time, they know that she had just TP'd out of that last engagement. They are going to send the Ancient Apparition Ice Blast out, but I don't think it's going to be able to connect over on the TA as she goes for the blink and the TP again. But either way, that decision to go for that tier 2 tower push over in that middle lane is going to cost them their entire lane of barracks down in the bottom lane. Whether or not they could have defended up against that is a different story. Most likely would have been able to protect at least one of the barracks, preferably the melee one, but either way, they end up sacking that in exchange for a tier 2 tower. Get a little bit more farm over onto the TA, who does pick up a Chrysalis after the completion of that tier 2 tower push. And Shadowblade also completed over on the Lina. I really like this item build just because the side of Team NXG need to pick up items in order to be able to compete up against the team fight of Team Q1shi, and they're not going to be able to do that whenever there's an invisible Lina running around with a level 3 Laguna Agnum Scepter upgrade ultimate, and no one really is safe on that side unless you're going to be the TA with refraction up at the ready. And if you're farming jungle camps, it's pretty unlikely that you're going to have your refraction up.
I don't know if there's too much that NXG could do right now. I mean, they've got a lot of single target burst damage, but the squishiest person on Q1shi's team right now is Ancient Apparition with 1300 base HP. That's really, that's pretty tanky for an AA. So really, even with the Chrysalis, even if you would need a couple of really lucky crits in order to take out the AA that fast, and that's just the AA. Not to mention Spectre with, oh, by the way, they're going for Roche again. They really want this Roche, but there is the Ice Blast coming out from the Ancient Apparition to see if it is, and they do see that they were just there because I believe they could see the debuff that, whatchamacallit, that TA put on Roche. Pay to lose right there, Valve. Work on that.
Right. Yeah, cosmetic items aren't going to be able to help you in this one, NXG, but this Lich in the AA has...
Nice grave!
Oh, I missed wherever that just occurred. Was that inside the well?
No, that was in the middle of the middle lane right here. They caught out the Necrolite, and right as he died, they got a nice wave, and doing a lot of damage. The Wisp will fall immediately, and BKB had to be popped in order to save the life of this Centaur, and now Slardar is caught with the Ancient Apparition ultimate, taking a lot of damage. There's a pause from Necro. Is this BM? What's going on?
I don't know. Nothing's being said.
Alright, and that is a... Oh, sorry, lag. Oh, it was a trick! It was a trick! She's killing them all! Alright, GG. NXG realizing they can't come back. Great gameplay there by Q1shi, showing that Spectre is a good pick. That last game was just a fluke, and they are here to take these grand finals as they move on to a 1-1 standoff between Q1shi and Team NextGaming.
Yeah, it's that fabled Italian standoff that we talked about before. Spectre, as you said, they realized that maybe just things went a little bit too poorly for them in the laning phase. They went poorly again for the Spectre in the laning phase, but that overextension down in the bottom lane and the itemization coming out from the Necrophos maybe didn't help them out too significantly, and things could have gone a little bit differently, but the timing on the Blink Dagger from the Centaur Warrunner was right on point, and you talked about it during that one team fight. When the Slardar blinked forward, so did the Centaur Warrunner, and just completely changed the momentum of the game. And no, Xander, I will not listen to your requests inside the Twitch chat at the moment, but maybe one of these days, if I'm gonna stop streaming at some point, I'll do it. But
I'm gonna fast.
Right. Either way, as you said, that is going to be game 2 going in the pocket of Team Q1shi. We are at a 1-1 standoff right now up against Team NXG in the TITA Italian Autumn Dota League. And this is going to go to the game 3 of the grand finals. So we'll be back momentarily in order to bring you guys the action over on that. In the meanwhile, if you want to follow Xander and myself over on Twitter, Xander, I believe now I think I know your Twitter handle. It's twitter.com/XanderDota. That's ZANDER Dota.
I hate you. Such a fuck boy.
DR Dota. Anyway, guys, screw Twitter, screw all that stuff. We'll be back momentarily with Game 3 between Q1shi and Team NXG.
Bye.
Bye.
get a good feeling, yeah. Get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah. Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. Get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah. Just wanna tell you right now, I really do believe it. Just wanna tell you right now, I really do believe
Ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka, ooga, ooga.
I can't stop this feeling deep inside of me. Girl, you just don't realize what you do to me. When you hold me in your arms so tight, you let me know everything's alright. I'm hooked on a